Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Workouts for Older Men Live. I am Skip LaCour. I'm here today to talk about some training, some eating, how that specifically applies to older men. Is there a workout routine for older men? Is there a special diet for older men? Right? A lot of men have questions about that when they come to my Facebook page, my YouTube channel. Let me know where you're watching me from. Are you watching me on YouTube? Are you watching me on Facebook? Tell me what part of the world you're watching too. So a lot of men have questions about that. Want to talk about training. I want to talk about nutrition, and I want to answer any questions that you might have. Use this time going live to answer your questions. All right. So this is the time to chime in, to say hello, hello, hello. All right. Hey, the first thing I want to talk about is workouts for older men. All right. What workouts should we have as older men? All right. Now, there are some men who have been training for 20 years. All right. You may be 50 years old, 55 years old, but you've been training for 20 years. And, you're using a lot of the same training strategies, a lot of same exercise, maybe even the same rep schemes as you did your first couple years of training. Remember way back when you first got those big gains in muscle and fat loss, those strategies worked just by you applying them, right? Many men, they pretty much do just a similar version of the same type of training, the same eating, the same thing that gave them success in the first 2 years. They just continue that on, right? So really, they're doing the same things that they did as a younger man, the same things they did 20 years ago, right? Why would you make all these radical changes when what you're doing works for you, right? So if you've been training for 20 years and what you are doing works for you, you should feel comfortable, confident that you are doing what your body needs and you're getting the gains, right? Now, let me just explain a couple of things. All right. There are a lot of different men with a lot of different goals. And I'm not necessarily talking about young, old, or somewhere in between, but they have different goals of what they want for their body. Some, they just want to lose the dad bod, the stomach. They don't want a shredded six pack abs or striations or someday entering a bodybuilding show. Right. They just want to be healthy and fit, right? Maybe lose the flab on the stomach, right? Maybe if you've been training for 20 years, uh, they would kill to get to the point that you are now as you are trying to take it to higher and higher levels, right? Uh, there's a lot of different amount of effort you want to put into it, right? So, I have a lot of discussions with a lot of dads. Excuse me. You might see um, I put a lot into my kids and my kids' sports, right? At 61 years old, I have a 10 and a half year old and a son that's about to turn 9. All right. So the big question is, you know, for them to be outstanding athletes, how much effort, are you going to put in? How important is that to you, your family, and to your child that he's outstanding? All right. You want him to just be on the team, just have fun doing it, interact with kids. Um, if he's on the team, do you want him to be outstanding at it? Set a new standard, meaning that if it's not necessarily the most competitive team, you've got your own set of standards for your son and or daughter or for themselves where they're going to be the best on the team. Maybe your standards are that you want to be the best in the whole area, not just the best on the team, the best in the whole league. There's a whole different set of standards that require um, a lot levels of dedication about those reps that you put in. And a lot of the men, they can relate to what I'm saying when I talk about sports for kids, because a lot of the driven, ambitious men, they weren't worrying about going to the gym. They were taking care of their kids, and they went through this sports things when they were younger men, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. All right. So you never know how badly do you want it. It's not the same to the families, to the kids, all those different levels. But what you put in is what you're going to get out. All right. And so when it comes to workouts for older men, there's some men who just want to get in shape, and there's some men who, I don't know, want to look like the bodybuilding show. They want to look like me. They want to look like me back 25 years ago when I was competing. So there's a wide range. So when you talk about workouts for older men, remember, if you've been training for 20 years, there are men who are just kind of getting into it now. They took care of their family and their business all this time, and now they have some free time, and now they're just starting for the first time, at 55 years old, right? So they're going to approach it a lot differently than what you're used to, the skill level that you have, right? So there's a lot of different workouts for older men. Now, if you do an exercise, I mean, is the body going to respond differently to a different exercise? That's probably not. But what exercises are going to choose? Are you going to feel comfortable with machines? Maybe you heard that free weights are the only way to do it, right? Well, it takes a certain skill level and know-how, right? All the different training routines. How about the time you're willing to put in, right? What if I just want to get in shape? Can I work out for 45 minutes a day, 2, 3 times a week? Is there a way to look the way that I want? Well, again, it depends on your goals, right? So when back back when I was a competitive bodybuilder, I'd never stepped into a 55 year old man's shoes and said, "Well, what can he do? What are his goals?" I just gave you the training routines that I did. People want to know, how can you get so good drug free? What are you doing? I was more than happy to share with my training routines and my diet, my whole mental approach to it all too. I was willing to share that, but that was me trying to be a 6-time national champion drug free bodybuilder. Does a 55-year-old man who just wants to get in shape, who's been training not even a couple of years, does he need to do everything that I do? Would his body respond? Well, again, when you get older, not going to respond when you're younger, but do you need a special exercise or routine like a lot of men might think when they see workouts for older men? No, your lifestyle, your mindset, your values, priorities, it's not the same when you're 20 years old. You can do a 20-year-old person that's ideal for him workout, but is that sustainable for you? Do you need to put in that effort to reach your goals? Right. So we look at the world differently when we're older, and there's a workout routine that you can fit. And that's the biggest challenge sometimes, is when you're looking at what I call the crazy, passionate younger fitness experts out there, or maybe the younger guys who just, they're not a guru, they're not a fitness influence, they don't want to coach you, they just showing you what they did. That certainly was my case before. It would not be necessary. All of that stuff would not be necessary for most of the men who I coach. So if you get tripped up on, oh, it's a workout for older men, he's doing a bicep curl. I do a bicep curl. I've done a bicep curl since I was 21 years old. Where you're missing the whole point, I get it. Sometimes you're watching a reel over on here on Facebook that's 5 seconds long, and you're thinking, you're looking at the exercise. It's a little bit more nuanced. It's a little bit more involved than special exercises, right? Okay, so again, if you've got a busy, productive life and you're a little bit older, a lot of the younger guys, they want to be in the gym 6 days a week. They want to do a lot of volume, being there an hour and a half. Now, when you do more volume like that, of course, you're going to train with intensity. You're going to train hard but you're going to have to last those 6 days, those couple hour workouts twice a week. You're going to have to last that long and pace yourself, right? If you don't have that time, then you're going to have to maybe train a little bit heavier with more intensity, right? And that's where a different workout comes in. If you have that busy, productive life and you're older, right? How can you do that, right? With all the conditions and the lifestyle being older. So that's the thing that you got to remember when it comes to this. And again, if you've been training for a long time, uh, you might only see it one way, but it's a little bit more involved. Hello, Ed. Ed on Facebook. Glad to have you here. And Philippe over on YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, do you guys have any questions that I can answer for you? Right. So that's one thing that I just clear it up. Right. If you were to watch my videos, go to skiplacour.com. Certainly, if you did one-on-one coaching with me, right, I become your personal teacher, your personal coach, and we tailor it to your lifestyle. But you understand how to do it with your lifestyle, especially backing up with the nutrition that you need to do to make sure you reach goals. You need to know if your goals are even realistic. So there's a little bit more to it, but it's not rocket science either. So go to skiplacour.com, check out those videos there, and you can start there. Got a lot of different ways to help you with my one-on-one coaching, But go ahead and ask me any questions that you have right now. I'm looking for the great questions that can help a lot of different men. A lot of men, they ask, well, what's the right workout routine? Or here's one, what's the right amount of reps to build muscle? All right. And, that's a question because you hear someone say with absolute certainty, it should be 12 to 15, it should be 8 to 10, 10 to 12, 6 to 8. Some even say 4 to 6 or whatever it might be. It's not, you can't just determine the effectiveness of a set, which, these sets build a great workout that hopefully builds muscle, right? Just on the number of reps that you do per set, right? That's just one part of the equation, right? The other part of the equation is what the exercise is, also how much weight you're using, and I'll tell you, a lot of people have an idea. Well, I use heavy weight and I do 10 or whatever, right? Well, even if that were true, you could use a heavier weight and go 6 to 8 and get the same or more production if you know what you're doing, right? So a lot of times you only understanding part of it. But if you're putting the efforts, it's how it feels at the end of the set. What do you have to say about Dino and Sebum this year at the Olympia here in Brazil? We love you, Skip. Well, thank you so much. You know, uh, I know who Sebum obviously is. He's massively popular. I don't even know who Dino is, right? Not really. I don't really follow the bodybuilding scene. I mean, that probably sounds strange. Philippe, you may know me as the hardcore competitive bodybuilder, which I was, back in the day. That's all I thought about, right? Um, excuse me again. Um, but again, I retired 21 years ago. I think it is now, 21 years ago. I live a lot different life than I did back then. But at 61 years old, healthy and fit, I took all that extreme thinking and that extreme discipline and that extreme strategies, uh, found out what was needed and wasn't needed for a guy living the life that we have. Healthy and fit, a little bit older, busy, productive life. Um, not the same level of focus and intensity as a competitive bodybuilder, and that does make a difference. So yeah, I know I disappoint a few people when they're really into the competitive bodybuilding, and I don't follow that as much anymore. It comes through my feed probably just like you, right? I know generally what's going on. Yeah. So what do you think about it, Philippe? Was that was that a controversial win for Sebum or not? And I'm wondering, is Dino from Brazil? I would have to kind of look that up here. All right. Let's see here. I'm gonna hang out here. So as people come on, just say hello. We can just spend some time talking. Also, I want to if you are looking for some help, I've got many ways to help you reach your goals. So check that out. And I look forward to talking to you with one-on-one coaching session. I'll reach out to you. I'll make sure that you have a form to fill out so I can learn a lot about you. Some very directed questions that help me learn about you. And then also I'll have you send me some pictures. Pictures tell me 1,000 words about how long you've been training, how hard you've been training, what you may be getting not quite right when it comes to your training or your nutrition. Right. So I throw that in. So think of that for $147. You and me, we get to spend an hour on the phone. The call is recorded so you can listen to it over and over again. All right. So check that out. Go to Solutions with Skip. Click that link in my bio or underneath this video, the description. Let's see here. John says, it's so hard to change my routine. It's so hard to change my routine. Drives me crazy. I always go back to it. Well, you know, and are you talking about your training routine, John? You know, a lot of people, they think that they don't see the progress that they see in the mirror, that they want to see in the mirror, right? They feel they're working hard, they're doing everything right. They feel as though their progress has stopped. And they think it's a training routine. That's what you're conditioned to think. You got to change the training routine. I don't know, people have different time frames, or your body will stagnate. It won't grow. It won't improve. I'll tell you this, a lot of times it's not your training routine. All right. If you continually push yourself overload, one more rep, 5 more pounds. And, I know that if you get a certain level, you're not going to just be able to throw 5 more pounds on the rack or add 5 more pounds on the dumbbell or whatever, because, you maxed out, right? At least to this point. But sometimes one rep over the course of 3 sets, 2 or 3 reps over the course of 3 sets, that's enough to take it to the next level. Slowing it down, better form, feel, and execution. Those are ways to take it to a higher level that, uh, goes, it's a little bit different than just being able to add more weight or more reps. All right. So that's progressive overload. And regardless if you've been doing the routine for 3 years because you love it, you're certain with it, as long as you're pushing yourself, don't believe that, you got to do these wholesale changes, the routine, or your body will be stagnant, right? Overloading the muscle, make sure, you perform the exercise well. If there's some exercises that you don't do well, right, it's probably good to switch it up, right? Maybe you'll get mentally bored or tired, don't have that same drive to execute because you've been doing it a long time. That's mental, though. As far as the physical body, you can continue to use that training routine as long as you're pushing yourself, John. So I hope that's helpful. Hello, Freddie. Hi, Skip. I've always done reps till failure, but I've recently read that it's possible to build muscle without going to failure every time. That would also be gentler on my shoulder joints that uh, that had hurt most of the time, especially after chest day. Uh, but if I don't do reps till failure, how do I know it's actually stimulating growth? Well, stimulating growth, I'll tell you, unless you are lean and you really, track with pictures, not even weight on the scale over time, because how much muscle tissue are you going to actually gain that's so noticeable? A lot of times, guys train and they look good, and I'm glad that they look good, but they overestimate how much muscle they're building. Sometimes it's marbled with fat, but the point is, you just have to be certain in what you're doing. Push it as hard as you can, keep on taking it another level, and then just have faith that you're stimulating muscle growth. But anyone who says they're absolutely certain they're stimulating muscle growth, um, well, if that's the reality and that's the belief and that's serving them, then good. Um, so here's the thing about absolute failure is, to me, the mind is so strong that even when you are training to failure, do you have 1 more rep in you? 2 more reps? I gave you $1 million and $1 million meant a lot to you. All right. And you said, no, with 80 pounds, there is no way I could do more than whatever, 8. Oh, really? Is that true? $1 million? And just say that meant something to you, $1 million, and you had faith that I would actually give it to you. You don't think you can get 1 more rep under those mental conditions? How about a half a rep? because a half a rep is more to failure than putting it down without that half a rep, right? So I think the whole thing of a failure, I mean, it's not as easily to quantify as you might think. So, going to that failure, you should, you know, um, to stimulate growth, all right, you're going to have, when you put that weight down, you will have to have challenged yourself, right? So here's the thing: people think that, weight is what makes the difference. So I'm going to go to failure, but I'm going to use lighter weight. Well, it's going to be heavier. It's going to feel quote unquote heavy, even with lighter weight if you go to a failure, right? And I think you know that, right? But it's a part of, going to failure. Well, the thing is, how many reps are you going to do as you're going to failure too, right? That could be, um, you know, besides weight, and then if you're going to failure or not, what's on the joints. What I would say is the volume is what most most people don't want to hear that because they don't want to say, well, I've been working out for 20 years. I've adopted a lot of volume because more is better, and studies show that more volume is better. And I work that hard where other guys would. And I have these 2-hour workouts. I've done it for years. I've done everything they quote unquote told me to do. And you're telling me I can't sleep at night because I'm older with shoulder pain. You're telling me all that work actually is causing the shoulder pain, all that volume, all those sets, all those reps, all those days of training, all that frequency is causing me pain right now? Well, who wants to hear that? No one does, right? But I would check out that volume and, and how that works, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, I do believe that you don't necessarily have to go to failure because I think that most men, again, I don't want to challenge anybody, and I don't watch you train, but I don't know how much they go to failure. I raise my hand. I raise my hand. I would say, no matter what it feels like. I mean, I'm busy. I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about my clients. I'm thinking about my family. I'm thinking about the next game. I'm thinking my kids are prepared, how well they're doing in school. It's not like the old school. You know what? I cleared everything out of my mind. I know my body knows what failure is. I'm not training that way, right? But so let's see here. Freddie says, "Tile equals time hurt." Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Freddie. All right. Well, these were some good questions. I hope these are helpful. If you're watching the replay version, say hello in the comment section if you are watching in the replay version too. Again, check that out. Solutions with Skip. Check. You can go there. It's a great way to talk to me. If you're at all interested in having more clarity, more certainty in what you do, and maybe to see if even one-on-one coaching would be a good idea for you. We could talk about it. All right. So reach out to me. I have my phone number everywhere for you to call or text me. All right. So that's going to do it for this Workouts for Older Men Live. Let's take on the day with a sense of urgency because we have to when we're a little bit older. We've got more time behind us than we do in front of us. All right. Have a great day.